Hi Foodie Families, my name is Miss Chelsea and this is my sister Cherokee. She's going to be helping me today with our recipes. A few things before we get started. It's important that you make sure your hands are washed prior to handling food, especially if you're going to be handling food for people other than yourselves. You want to have your hair pulled back if you have hair. She has very short hair, so she doesn't have to worry about it. If you are concerned, you can put either a hairnet on or a ball cap. Another thing you want to make sure is to have all the equipment that you're going to be needing whenever you are cooking and all of your ingredients prepped and ready. And if you want to preserve your clothes, you can wear an apron. We've got our aprons on right here. That will keep your clothes from getting dirty. You can wear a half apron like we are or a full apron. Is there anything that I'm leaving out?
No? Oh, clean surfaces.
Oh yes, make sure your surface is clean that you're cooking on. You don't want to have your food on a dirty surface.
That's how people get sick.
Use hot water and soap and wipe down your surface, and then you can either towel dry it off or you can just leave it to dry before you start cooking. Alright, let's get started. For our first recipe, we are going to make sun tea. For your sun tea, you're going to need a container to brew your tea in, preferably a glass one or one that's clear, obviously filled with water, and then you want your tea bags. For this, you can use however many tea bags you'd like. I'm using 6. So what we're gonna do, we're going to stick our tea bags. I tie the string in a knot just so that I'm not fishing them out later. You're gonna go ahead and dunk them. I'm using hot water here, so it's gonna go ahead and start brewing. You can start off with cold if you'd like. And then you're gonna just put your top on with the excess string hanging out, and then we are going to go and put it on the porch for a few hours. All right, so we're gonna leave this outside for a couple hours in the sun, and then we will come back and check on it. After the tea's done brewing, we will show you how to do a simple syrup to sweeten your tea, but while we're waiting on that, we are going to go ahead and start on our chips. For the chips, we need a chef's knife. This will need the assistance of a parent. Kids should not be using these by themselves. We need a cutting board, and we need some tortillas, our cooking spray of your vegetable cooking spray. We are going to be using this olive oil spray, but you can use whatever you'd like. And then we also need salt. Okay, so we want 4 8-inch tortilla shells. So they can be flour tortilla, whatever sort of tortilla you'd like.
Soft tortilla is what they need to be.
Yes, they need to be soft tortillas. Okay, and perfect. Get that out of the way. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to get our oven prepped, and we're going to heat our oven to 350 degrees. So you're going to take your tortillas, we're going to cut 2 at a time, you can cut 1 at a time, into 8 pieces. Now that we have all of our tortillas cut into 8 pieces, we are going to take our vegetable spray and we're going to spray them generously with our vegetable oil, because we're going to use this to cover it so that the salt sticks to them. And if you don't want to use your hands, you can use spoons or something else to toss this with.
To also help make them crispy.
Yes, this will help make them crispy when you put them in the oven. And we'll use our butter knife that we have over here. And we'll just go ahead and level that out. And then we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna spread a little bit at a time, and then we'll toss it. Spread a little bit more. And then toss. And you can adjust the amount of salt to your liking. You can add less, you can add more, you can add none if you want. Or if you'd like to make these more of a sweet chip, you could add 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar and a tablespoon of ground cinnamon. Or if you want to use ranch chips, you would use a tablespoon of packaged ranch seasoning mix. Alright, I think that those are coated enough. We're going to go ahead and prep them for the oven. For this portion, we are going to spread half of our tortilla chips onto a rimmed baking sheet in a single layer. Our oven's ready. We're going to spread the tortilla chips evenly across. Okay, you're going to spread them out, and then we will put them in the oven. Now that our chips are in the oven, we are going to let them bake for about 10 to 15 minutes. Just a note that if they are, the lower they are in the oven, the quicker that they will bake, so you want to check on them. And so while those are baking, we're going to prep for our salsa. For our salsa recipe, we need 4 Roma tomatoes, or if you would like, you can use a 14.5-ounce can of diced tomatoes. I will actually put a little blurb up telling you how to do this recipe that way, because it'll be slightly different. You need a 1/4 cup of cilantro leaves. So you need cilantro and then a 1/4 cup measuring cup. Need 2 slices of jarred pickled jalapenos, but for this we like it a little spicier. We're going to use a small jalapeno. You need 2 teaspoons of lime juice, so you're going to need a couple of limes and then a teaspoon. Your teaspoon measuring spoon. The yellow one. Alright, and then you also need 1 clove of garlic. We like a little bit more garlicky, so we're going to be using 2 cloves of fresh garlic. And then you'll need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So you need your salt again and your 1/4 teaspoon measuring spoon. We've already measured ours out in this little bowl. Okay. You will also need a medium mixing bowl, which we've got here. You'll need if you're using a can of tomatoes, you'll need a can opener. We're not using that. You'll need a sharp knife to cut your tomatoes up. Parents, you need to be the ones that do this. You will want a spatula. If you would like to, you can use a food processor. We are not going to be using that today. And then like I said, a bowl. To get the consistency of salsa we want, we're going to do a mortar and pestle type. And you can watch how Miss Cherokee is holding her fingers.
Bear claw.
Yeah, she said it's called bear claw. It keeps your fingers away from the blade.
And flat, so if you are near the blade, you're less likely to cut yourself.
Any parts of the tomato that you don't want to use in your salsa, you can either compost or you can pitch. And we want to cut our tomatoes into decently small chunks. So here we have a makeshift mortar and pestle. We have a bowl, and then we are using the handle end of the ice cream scoop as the Okay, if you use a mortar and pestle, you can get it to a consistency that you like. We like this consistency, so we're going to add it to the tomatoes that we've already crushed and we've already diced and put it in there. And then we're going to set that aside, and we are going to get our cilantro. We're going to go ahead and cut up our cilantro. we need a 1/4 cup, so we're gonna put our 1/4 measuring cup. We're gonna grab some, if you got fresh cilantro, it's probably so much tastier than store-bought, but we're gonna be using store-bought.
I'm gonna dice up all of it. It's a lot quicker.
We'll just do this. We're gonna use we're gonna do cilantro leaves. And if you want a little bit of extra flavor, you can play around with it. Our recipe calls for a 1/4 cup. And to release a little bit more of the flavor, we're probably going to use a mortar and pestle again. I'm going to put a little extra, I know that. Okay, and then we will replace our old stuff we don't use. Okay, and then we're not going to crush this up too much, but we're just going to do it just enough to get a little bit of those juices out.
You can also just chop these if
you can just chop it if you'd like. Okay,
but
so now that we've got it incorporated, we're going to set it to the side again. And then we're going to get our garlic. We're going to mince our garlic. If you've got a garlic press, you can do it this way. Or you can mince it or you can grate it. You may have to go a couple of times.
You're stuck.
Okay, so with the grater, you want to be careful as well. This is probably something that an adult would want to do. Alright, and you just gently grate the garlic back and forth. And it may stick to the other side.
But that's okay.
But that's okay. So all you have to do is take a spatula and just kind of scrape it off into your bowl. And then with this last part, we'll show you how to mince it. Again, adults need to be the ones that use the knives. All right, hold on, I don't know how much. All right, here we go. We're finishing up our mincing, and once our garlic is completely minced, you'll scrape it up and then you will just put it in your bowl. Right, and then we will incorporate that as well. I'm going to go ahead and incorporate that while she gets her hands cleaned up. Now we're going to go ahead and get our jalapeno cut up. We are going to seed our jalapeno because we want the spice, but we don't want all the extra spice that comes with the seeds.
Get that compost bowl over here, please.
I'm going to put this in our compost.
Do not touch your face after handling a jalapeno.
Oh yes. Make sure you thoroughly wash your hands after working with any spicy peppers, any spicy ingredients. You don't want to get it on your face or in your eyes, so make sure you wash thoroughly. We're going to go ahead and incorporate this. It's starting to smell good. And if you want a smoother salsa, do feel free to put this through a blender or a food processor. We just like a chunkier salsa. This, I'm going to go ahead and set that to the side, and it says the juice of, or 2 teaspoons of lime. So squeeze from 1 lime. I am going to actually take this and I'm going to roll the lime a bit. Can you see me?
Yes.
Make it a little bit soft. And then I'm going to take a knife and cut my lime in half.
You can also just buy lime juice from the store.
I'm going to squeeze this into a separate bowl just in case there are seeds. Alright, go ahead and add this and our salt. I'm going to incorporate, so we're going to make sure that's nice and incorporated. And then we will set this aside. You can put it in the refrigerator to chill it if you like, or you can serve it at room temp. I think we are going to chill it while we make our guacamole. Okay, so we went ahead and cleaned up our space, and for our guacamole we are going to need a cutting board, a knife, kitchen shears if you've got it. You don't need them, but I'm going to use them. A spoon, spatula, a half a teaspoon, our bowl with our for our mortar and pestle, our measuring bowl, cilantro, a lime. We're going to use 2 cloves of garlic, and then 3 avocados. And the recipe calls for scallions, but we are going to be using green onions. And then of course our salt and a bowl. Okay, to get started, start with our garlic and our smaller ingredients first. So with the garlic, I'm going to cut off the ends here. Don't want those in there. And then we are going to okay, now that we've got our garlic minced, we're going to go ahead and scoop it up and put it in our bowl. Alright, and then we're going to take our green onions. I've got a couple spots that are no good. I'm going to tear those off. And I'm going to take my kitchen shears for this. And again, the kitchen shears should be used by an adult. And I'm just going to cut them up into small bits into our bowl. Okay. Now we've got our green onions in there. I'm going to work on our cilantro. Alright, so we're going to use the whole thing for this on the cilantro. We're just going to chop it. That's good, I think. Okay. Now that we've got our cilantro all chopped up, we are going to go ahead and put it in the bowl with the other ingredients. Okay, I'm going to take my lime and I'm going to roll it. Make it a little softer, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. Okay. I'm going to squeeze it into a separate bowl in case there's any seeds. Doesn't look like there's any seeds, so we're going to go ahead and dump that in there. I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to kind of incorporate it. Let that sit. We'll go ahead and put the half teaspoon salt in there. That's our spoon. Go ahead and incorporate. This calls for a plum tomato. I don't have any plum tomatoes, so we are going to use a few cherry tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and go wash these. You should always wash your produce before you use it. I forgot to mention that earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and wash these, and then I will be right back. Alright, for my baby tomatoes, I'm going to cut them in half. Cut them in half again, and then I'm going to dice them. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and cut up the rest of these, and then I will meet you back for the next step. Okay, so I've already completed my tomatoes and I've put them in with the rest of my stuff, and I've kind of incorporated them to let the flavors kind of marinate while I make the rest of my guacamole. For this, you're going to need 3 avocados. I'm actually going to be using the blender for this, just so I can get a little bit smoother consistency. But I'm going to show you how to do this with one of the avocados, and then I will blend it.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cut into my avocado. Parents, you need to be doing this since it's a sharp object. You just cut around and then twist your avocado, and then this only works half the time for me, but we'll see if it works today. You can put your knife into the avocado pit and break it like I did. We'll just do a different one. Okay. Normally I would slice my avocado into little chunks and then I would just flip it inside out, but since I'm putting it in the blender, I'm just going to scoop it out with my spoon and stick it in there, and I'm going to set the avocado skin to the side. I'm going to repeat that process. I'm going to repeat this process with my other 2 avocados, and then I will meet you back for blending. Okay, you can go ahead. Okay, so I've got our avocados ready to be put in the blender. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you can do this in your food processor if you've got it. If you don't want to do this, you can just smash it with a fork or a spoon and then incorporate it into your other ingredients. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got my avocado blended and I'm going to add it to my other ingredients. And then we will incorporate. No, let it stay. I'm just gonna. Okay, so we've got our guacamole incorporated, and we are going to chill that, and then we are going to check on our tea. Yep, avocado. It's guacamole. You see guacamole?
Guacamole.
Yep. Do you like the guacamole?
Yeah.
Do you like the salsa?
I will say that.
Yep. So the salsa and the avocado dip, the guacamole and the chips were a hit. Everybody liked it. Yeah. Alright guys, that is our Foodie Families recipes for today. If you'd like to pick them up at the library, you can also check out our cookbooks in the nonfiction section in the kids corner. I will see you guys in a couple of weeks for our next Foodie Families video. Bye!